Hello Internet. On this occasion I'm going to share some of my basic sewing skills for a couple of reasons. First off, this pocket has a very pen-sized hole in it. Given the fact that I usually carry around one pen at a time, losing that pen can be awkward. Secondly, while I was in the Air Force, I was, quite frankly, appalled at the number of people who came in who did not even have basic sewing skills. So, sewing kits really aren't that expensive. I've had this one for a while. It has a selection of needles, came with a selection of thread, small scissors, fabric tape measures, pins, and safety pins. Essentially everything you needed for the basics of sewing. Now, if you're doing an exterior thing, it helps to match the thread, but for pockets that's less important. Next time I need to sew a button on something, I may share how to sew that, although there are probably better sewers out there on the internet that can show you how. Oh, I do believe I do different from most people. In that, when I take my thread and cut it off, but that's what the scissors are for, I tend to, I guess, double strength it. It'd be easier to show you. So that all needles have a pointy end, and sewing needles have an end with an eye loop. You put the thread through the eye loop, and then I pull, so it's about half the length is on either side, and then I do my fabric knot. Well, not my fabric knot, my thread knot, which I kind of go through, thread it, make a loop, and then thread the thread through itself twice. And that usually makes a knot that is sufficient for sewing purposes. It's not showing up real nice here on the camera, but it's there. Then you take the scissors and you cut off most of that excess. Alright, you have the needle and thread. Go to your hole, start at one end, thread it through to the other side, and pull all the way through, and you will repeat this across the hole. My stitches aren't exactly pretty, but I've learned to sew for practical reasons like doing buttons, fixing pockets, not to make things pretty. You might notice I'm also going back against my first sew across, and that's to make sure I'm not leaving any pen-sized hole. Alright, now this for me has always been the hardest part of sewing, stopping, because you need to make another knot so it doesn't come undone. What effectively you need to do is I use my finger to catch and make a loop. Go back through, run through that loop, and go through that loop again and tighten it down. And that should be a sufficient knot to hold the stitch in place. And there you go. A not necessarily pretty, but practical stitch. Once again, I shared this because I found it appalling the number of people who enter the Air Force without even basic sewing skills. And that's a very simple way to fix a pocket. So, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and most importantly, have a nice day.